Hi guys, I'm at this setup, which is my recording setup, but that's not the point why I make the video. So basically, before I had this TV starting up, I had SmartThings installed on my Samsung Galaxy phone. It's the S20, it's a Note 21 Ultra, and I'm planning on getting the Fold. But basically, that's not the point. The point about, in order to, because this is a Samsung TV, it's the T700U. It's basically their OLED TV, and the problem with most of the Samsung TVs are you need smart things in order to control it smart-wise. And so what I did was, I'll show you. Um, so I took one of these, but it's not this one. She had an extra smart plug, so this one was from my KRK Rockets that I was using with a splitter. And then I had a two-prong one, a two-port one, outdoor one that had two ports on there that I'm using on the KRK Rockets, and I'm using the Echo to basically combine them together into one group. So this one's called KRK Rocket 1, this is called KRK 1, this is called KRK 2, and they're combined together, not the port part. So you need one of these, a smart plug, and so you need one of these, and you also need, if you, or you can use an outdoor one. I recommend one of these ones because they're cheaper than outdoor. The outdoor one's like 18 bucks. This one's only like $9. And so you need a splitter. So a 15 amp Numa splitter. So you would need something like that. A 15 amp Numa splitter and or a two-prong outdoor splitter from smart plug from actually Casa, or any kind of smart plug. I use Casa because they're cheaper and they're pretty cool. I don't have to deal with custom software, and this is definitely compatible with Alexa. And um, I also can get them super cheap. But you take this, plug in the splitter if you have this one, or plug the two prong one into the wall, and then you take whatever you want to hook it to. For example, I have one that has a splitter. So if you have two TVs, one is on one monitor, and the second TV is the second monitor. Or in this case, I'm using this one, which has a auto switch off power supply. This also has an auto switch off power supply because you can basically just pull the plug and they wouldn't get any damage. Unlike if you were just to pull a plug from a computer, could get damaged. They're power supplies in these monitor in this specific TV, this Samsung TV, can be unplugged and plugged in, and it would work. So with basically the Samsung TVs, I actually had SmartThings installed, and with SmartThings, you have to give it a specific name, and it wouldn't work correctly if the power was actually lost. So what I did was take a smart plug, one of these, this one to be one of these specifically, took a 15 amp Numa splitter, plugged into here, plug one in into this monitor, one into the TV. And so when I did that, I turned on the smart plug and then I turned on the TV. And then I tested it just to make sure it worked. And I just did it. And I thought it wouldn't work, so I just tried it. And when I turn it off, it turns off. And then when I turn it back on, it resumes where it left off at, even if it's been unplugged for around 20 minutes. It's basically would turn back on to where it was left off at. So you don't need smart things in order to turn it on. You just need a smart plug, and you don't have to unplug the Ethernet cable just to get it back up and running. You just have to make sure you have Wi-Fi or the smart plug with the or some kind of connection to the smart plug. So if you have and you have to have a way of actually doing a command, like to saying command like the Echo to turn it on or something. And so from there, I have this doing with this one. I tested it on on this TV just to try it out to see if it'll work with the two-prong smart plug. And so I basically put the two-prong over there where that TV's unplugged at, and then I plugged it in and plugged it into the wall and turned on the TV, tried it by pressing the smart plug button, and it just worked. And then I thought, let me take a smart plug over here and plug it into this monitor and plug it into this TV, and it just worked. And the only thing was I had to basically because I needed a splitter cable, and I only have one in the back room and one in here. And the one that's in here was connected to these two speakers, and so I just thought, let me just take the two-prong, the outdoor splitter and plug it into the KRKs, and I can get another one of these. I actually prefer these ones for KRKs because they can turn on simultaneously, and I am planning on getting KRKs in the back room, but not important. So I'll give you a demo. So Alexa, turn off PC.
Okay.
As you see, turns them off. It takes a little bit of time to turn back on, but if you really don't, if you just need it for controlling of TVs or monitors, for example, Alexa, turn on PC.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, see? There you go, your little bit of time. And so now that just shows up after, which is just the start screen. And then if I really wanted to, I can just unplug the Ethernet cable from actually there to make it so that doesn't show actually up, and just have a main display right there. And so the things that are running on smart plugs in here are those two speakers, the DBX286, and then the 1440p panel, this 4K TV, and this light right here, and that's it. What's behind the monitor is just my thing. But that's how you control TV. So let's just say you have four TVs. Four different inputs. So you have four different computers, or four different, like, 4 Fire TVs, or 4 Apple TV TVs. You can even basically put an Apple TV onto a splitter with one of these actual TVs to, like, turn on. So you can say turn on TV 1, and then it'll turn on the TV and a Fire TV, or Apple TV, and then you just use the remote to control them. I would recommend, if you're doing that, you could have you could use it at like a sports bar or something. So you can either do actually that, or they have a actual channel strip. It's a rack channel strip for something like this. You can put it into a rack to rack ears, and it can be a 10-port one. And then you can take a smart plug, and then you take that smart plug and then get a smart plug, and then you take the smart plug and plug it into the power strip, and then plug that into the wall, and then you take the Fire TV, the Apple TV, and plug it into the power strip. Turn on the power strip, and then you take 9 TVs or 8 TVs, and then plug it. So I would say 8 TVs. This is just what could be a use case for this, which is taking 8 TVs, plugging 8 TVs into each port, and then plugging a splitter, so a rack mount splitter into the a rack mount splitter. So one input to, I think it's, yeah, so one input to 8 outputs. They make those. It costs like $300 though. So you take that and then you plug one into one HDMI cable into one TV and do that 8 times and get some kind of like wall bracket to put the TVs in like a row. So, or you can put them at the top if you're like at like a sports bar. Then you could basically the hook up the HDMI to actually the Matrix splitter, and hook the Matrix splitter up to the Apple TVs on Fire TV or whatever you want, and make sure if you have an Apple TV, it has Dolby Vision. You get TVs that support Dolby Vision, and then you hook the Apple TV to like there, hook the Apple TV to the power strip, and then turn on the power strip, and then when you say turn on whatever you decide to name it with like a echo, you can even get an 11 port one, and or just get a splitter. So you get a splitter, hook up the splitter, hook the splitter to the wall, and then hook the smart plug to one end of the splitter, hook the power strip to the other end of the splitter, and then you hook the echo to the other splitter cable part, and then you can basically control it with actually Alexa, and basically turn on stuff. And you can turn on all 8 TVs at once, and you can do this depending on how big your power strip is and what your cable is rated for. So, and then you can basically turn it on with just your voice and not have to deal with the TV's features. Like LG has their own app that you use. Sony has their own app. So does Samsung. Vizio has their own app too. But so with this feature, you don't have to use their specific app to actually to have smart controls of your TV, unless you want to do stuff like play and pause a show. But if you're just trying to turn them on and you're going to use a remote yourself and then just change the stuff yourself, then I recommend just getting a smart plug and you can set it up. So, and just to make sure the smart plug is working, it has a little button on each of them. You can press this button right here and it turns it on. And if it makes a clicking noise, then the smart plug can work. It works. And so there's an issue with these smart plugs is that they only last about they last a while, but since they're so actually cheap, you can replace them cheaply without having to replace everything else. So I had one of these that refused to connect to Wi-Fi permanently. It would just blink randomly, and so I basically took that one and used it somewhere else for, because I actually use these for a lot of stuff, because I actually use one of these in the back room to turn on speakers. And so if I want to, if I was going to replace it with the splitter that's controlling the KRK rockets, but now I'm not, and I'm just going to use a 15 amp gauge, AWG NUMA rated cable, and plug it into that splitter, and then plug the KRK rockets until there when I get the KRK rockets, and I'm going to get the splitter. Then, so, and this one, if you're wondering why there's electrical tape on here, is because of there's a blue light that is on here, and so when I'm watching TV or any kind of media, I don't like having light, or when I'm doing music production, I don't like having light bleed on here. So when I'm doing music production, this light's not on. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.